After 40, your body's cellular batteries start dying off about 10% every decade. By 60, you've lost a full third. And the cardio everyone tells you to do, the fast, sweaty, joint-pounding HIIT routine, barely touches the problem. Meanwhile, the longevity researchers running labs at Stanford are doing the exact opposite. They're going slow, so slow it looks lazy, and the data says it adds years to your life. There's a specific pace your body responds to differently than every other pace you'll ever train at. It's called Zone 2, and almost nobody does it correctly. Zone 2 is the highest intensity at which your blood lactate stays under about 2 millimoles per liter. Below that threshold, your muscles burn fat for fuel. They rebuild the cellular machinery that ages backwards. Above the threshold, you cross over into sugar burning, and you lose the entire adaptation. The simplest test is the talk test. If you can speak in full sentences without gasping, you're in the zone. The moment you can only get out a few words, you've gone too hard. Most people who think they're doing easy cardio are actually redlining the whole time. This is where the surprise hits. Studies of elite endurance athletes show they spend about 75 to 80% of their training time in the slow zone. Cyclists, runners, rowers, not the moderate zone, not the hard zone, the slow zone, the pace that feels like a brisk walk. Olympic champions are training slower than your average gym-goer does on their so-called easy day. This isn't an opinion. It's been documented across decades of training data. The polarized model, 80% easy, 20% hard, almost nothing in the middle. And the reason is simple. Your body builds different machinery at different intensities. Hard work trains your lactate tolerance. Slow work builds your cellular factories. Only one of those compounds for a lifetime. The trainer culture has it backwards. The boutique class shouting at you to push harder isn't building your longevity engine, it's grinding it down. Real metabolic flexibility comes from time at a pace so unsexy that nobody puts it on Instagram. Time at a pace where your body finally has the room to rebuild itself. That rebuilding happens inside something so small you can fit 1 billion of them on the head of a pin. Let me show you what. Inside every cell in your body, there's a population of tiny power plants. They're called mitochondria. They take the food you eat and convert it into the energy that runs every system you have. Your brain, your heart, your muscles, your immune system, every breath, every thought, every step. What nobody talks about is this. After age 30, your mitochondrial function starts dropping about 8% per decade. That's not a guess. That's measured in skeletal muscle biopsies. The data is published in PNAS. By age 60, your cellular energy production is down by roughly 1/4. By 70, it's down 1/3. When your mitochondria fail, every other system fails with them. The landmark 2013 review in the journal Cell defined the hallmarks of aging. It called mitochondrial dysfunction one of the 9 root causes of why we get old. Not a symptom, a root cause. Now, here's the part that should reframe everything for you. Mitochondria are one of the only systems in the human body that respond directly to training. You can build them, you can rebuild them. The specific stimulus that builds them most powerfully is sustained low-intensity aerobic work, Zone 2. The foundational study goes all the way back to 1967. A scientist named John Holloszy trained rats on treadmills for 12 weeks. He found their mitochondrial enzyme activity had doubled, twice the cellular power production, from slow, sustained running. The modern data is even more dramatic. Professional endurance athletes show 3 times the mitochondrial mass of sedentary controls. They burn fat at exercise intensities where the average person is already in sugar-burning mode. They clear lactate from their blood 2 to 3 times faster. Their cells are physically different.
This is exactly why HIIT cannot replace Zone 2. They build different machinery. HIIT trains your anaerobic capacity. Zone 2 trains the aerobic substrate clearance system. You need both. But Zone 2 is the foundation. Without it, the rest is a roof with no walls. For anyone watching this who saw our video on insulin resistance after 40, this is the same cellular story playing out at the metabolic level. Zone 2 doesn't just build mitochondria, it restores the body's ability to handle glucose. It restores the body's ability to burn fat. It restores the way you respond to insulin. The cellular battery and the metabolic control system are the same machinery seen from two angles. So how do you actually train at the right pace? Before we get into the protocol, this isn't medical advice. Talk to your doctor before starting any new exercise routine, especially if you have a heart condition or take prescription medication. The talk test is the simplest method. You should be able to hold a full conversation while exercising. Not singing, not silent, just normal conversational sentences. The moment you have to break sentences in half to breathe, you've gone above Zone 2. The heart rate target is around 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. A practical heuristic some coaches use is 180 minus your age. For a 45-year-old, that lands around 135 beats per minute as the ceiling. It's not the most accurate method. Lactate testing is more precise, but the talk test catches most people. The duration researchers report works best is 45 minutes to 60 minutes per session. The frequency is 3 to 4 sessions per week. Total weekly volume around 3 to 4 hours. The modality almost doesn't matter. A stationary bike works, an inclined walk works, a rower works, swimming works. The lower impact options are actually better for anyone over 40 because they protect the joints across decades. The exact movement matters less than the pace and the time. There's a critical mistake almost everyone makes when they start. They drift up. The first 2 weeks feel easy, and they speed up. By week 3, they're back above Zone 2, and they wonder why nothing is changing. Recalibrate every 4 weeks. Your fitness improves, and your Zone 2 pace gets faster, but the perceived effort stays the same. Cruise, don't grind. Most people who do this consistently see measurable changes around week 8 to week 12. Resting heart rate drops. The pace you can hold while still talking gets noticeably faster. Sleep improves. Energy in the afternoon stops crashing. The body starts to feel like an engine instead of a battery running down. The mortality data on this is wild. There was a 15-year study of 55,000 adults. It was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. The finding was striking. Even people running less than 50 minutes a week had a 30% lower risk of dying than non-runners. Even people running slower than 6 miles per hour. 3 full years of life expectancy from slow, low-volume work. There's no rep counter for this, no app score, no leaderboard. The reward is something more abstract and more powerful. It's a body that ages backwards at the cellular level. The pace nobody wants to do is the pace the researchers and the elite endurance world have quietly converged on. It's not flashy, it's not on Instagram, it's just the slow, boring mitochondria rebuilding work that the data keeps validating. If this changed how you think about cardio, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you want to see the upstream metabolic story this connects to, check out our video on insulin resistance after 40. Same cellular machinery, same fix. Stay curious, stay sourced.